Good morning, everyone. We are gathered here for the arbitration hearing of case number 515J. We begin by briefly introducing ourselves. I am your presiding arbitrator, Ms. Alisa Tubilan. Together with me,
I am Joy Salburo. And I am Nicole Faustino.
now for the representatives and the parties for arbitration, please identify yourselves.
I am attorney James Carl B. Montimore and I am for the complainant. I am representing Mr. Efren Haina.
Good morning, I am Efren Haina. I am the complainant of this case.
Good morning. I am Attorney Cecile Pontillas, the Legal Counsel for BCD Construction Services.
Good morning. I am April May Malakay, contractor and representative of BCD Construction Services.
The parties have stipulated in their contract to settle this dispute in this arbitral tribunal. May we remind the parties that throughout the proceedings, we will strictly adhere to the general rules and procedures on arbitration proceedings, its peculiarities from judicial proceedings, its strict adherence to time bars, and our policies against postponements to ensure a speedy and fair disposition of the issues.
The tribunal shall act according to justice and equity and merits of the case, without regard to technicalities or legal forms, and need not be bound by any technical rule of evidence. Evidence shall be taken in the presence of the tribunal and all of the parties, except where any of the parties is absent or has waived his right to be present.
Let us proceed with the submission of documentary evidence for the proper adjudication of the issues. Party A, please present your evidence.
We would like to submit to the Honorable Tribunal the following pieces of evidence for the complainant. First is the contract of agreement entered into by Mr. Efren Haina and BCD Construction Services. We would like to have it marked as Exhibit A.
Go.
Next would be the photograph taken by Engineer Adabel Falca Santos depicting instances of non-compliance with material specifications and safety standards. We would like to have it marked as Exhibit B. Next would be the judicial affidavit of Engineer Adabel Falca Santos attesting material deviation and non-compliance with material specifications and safety standards. We would like to have it marked as Exhibit C. We would also like to submit the letter of complaint sent to by Mr. Efren Haina to the BCD Construction Services. We have it marked as Exhibit D. Next, as Exhibit E, the judicial affidavit of the complainant, Mr. Efren Haina. And the last evidence would be the project schedule demonstrating the significant delay in the project completion. We would like to have it marked as Exhibit F.
We would like to submit to this honorable tribunal the following pieces of evidence for the respondent, BCD Construction Services. First is the notice for the extension of time due to the delay in the delivery of construction. We would like to mark it as Exhibit 1. Second is the revised bar chart and S-curve reflecting the extended project schedule. We would like to mark it as Exhibit 2. Third is the certificates of material compliance. We would like to mark it as Exhibit 3. Fourth is the judicial affidavit of the representative of BCD Construction Services, Ms. April B. Malakay. We would like to mark it as Exhibit 4. And the last is the judicial affidavit of Engineer Rachel Alberto, the site engineer of BCD Construction Services. Mark it as Exhibit 5.
Counsel, please hand over your documents for marking. Thank you, counsels. Now that we have received your documentary evidence, please allow us time to review your documents. However, please be reminded that all documents not offered with the arbitral tribunal at the hearing, but which are arranged at the hearing subsequently by agreement of the parties to be submitted, shall be filed within 5 days from the termination of the hearing. All parties shall be afforded opportunity to examine such documents. For now, the proceeding is adjourned. A pleasant day to the parties for arbitration present today. The arbitral tribunal has reviewed your evidentiary documents. And after an examination of these evidence, not one has been found to be irrelevant. So that's why we proceed with the presentation of witnesses. Counsel of the complainant, please call your first witness.
Good day, arbitrators. I would like to present our first witness, the complainant himself, Mr. Efren Haina.
Mr. Efren Haina, you may now proceed with your testimony.
Good day, Your Honor. I'm Efren Haina. I'm a businessman by profession and I'm currently residing at San Jose Road, Zamboanga City, Philippines. So, Your Honor, I came here to raise this concern with the ongoing project I have contracted with BCD Construction Services. So, Your Honor, this project is a 4-hectare mall which will be established here in Zamboanga City with a agreement that matatapos nila within 4 years. But I'm here, Your Honor, because from 2 years and it seems that I have some concerns, so I asked another expert. I hired a third party engineer to inspect my business, my project, of course. So upon the inspection, Your Honor, my third-party engineer presented me some results which is concerning, and so I came here because first there is concern with the safety of the construction building. Also, the very important is the delay. We've agreed that this will only consume within 4 years, but from the inspection of my engineer, it seems that it is not attainable. They can no longer somehow finish it within 4 years. And also with the substandard and with the other concerns with the construction materials. So, Your Honor, I came here to finally resolve this, or whatever means that would for the good of my business. So, time is gold for a businessman, so I hope that we could resolve this, and hopefully if they are willing to settle, in my part I'm willing to settle. It's just that they have to, of course, there are damages that I would want to achieve from that, because I'm also incurring losses from these delays. So that's all so far, Your Honor. That's the concern that I have, why I seek my counsel and why we're here, Your Honor.
Mr. Efren Haina, based on your affidavit and your testimony, where you have claimed that BCD Construction Services deviated from your contractive agreement, it appears that the following are the deficiencies. Number 1, there's non-compliance with material specifications. 2, there's failure to adhere to safety standards. And 3, there's significant delay in project completion. Is this correct, Mr. Efren Haina?
Yes, Your Honor. You're correct, Your Honor.
Counsel, is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor. It's correct.
Mr. Efren Haina, I am giving you this final opportunity to add anything else that you haven't already stated in your affidavit.
So far, Your Honor, you've highlighted and summarized my statement, and you pointed out the 3 major concerns, and I am fine with it. I think my lawyer, attorney Montimore, also addressed these concerns already. So I think it's good that we will focus on these 3 major concerns. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Lastly, counsel and Mr. Efren Haina, what action or remedy from the tribunal do you seek by bringing this complaint?
Your Honor, I would like to clarify that the remedies that we want to seek in this counsel is that first, the specific performance of the said project, that it will be completed in the agreed time, or if ever there will be amendments as to the contract, I hope it will be settled. We're hoping that it will be settled in this tribunal, or if the specific performance is not possible, we would like to seek damages for all the damage or the injury that my client has suffered because of the deviations. That would be our remedies that we want to seek in this tribunal. That would be all.
Thank you, counsel. Thank you, Mr. Efren Haina. You may now call your second witness.
Your Honor, I would like to call in this honorable tribunal my second witness, Engineer Edabel Falcasantos. She is the engineer commissioned by my client to assess the progress of the project, and so also she is to testify as to the deficiencies and deviations with regard to the material specifications that has not been observed, and so is the safety standards deviation and the delay in the project output. So, Your Honor, here is Miss Engineer Edabel Falcasantos.
Buenos dias a todos. I am Engineer Edabel Falcasantos, the engineer contracted by Mr. Efren Haina to provide technical assistance on his ongoing project ELJ Mall. So, on December 19, 2023, Mr. Efren Haina reached out to me because allegedly he's having a problem with his ELJ Mall project. So we went to the site and of course assess the actual progress of the project, and we found out that there are some discrepancy, if i-base natin sa plano at saka yung anong meron sa site. So among sa mga discrepancy na we observe is that the contractor did not adhere to the required strength of materials as specified in the plans. For example, for the concrete, it was specified dun sa blueprint that the required strength at 28 days must be 20.7 MPa. So we conducted a concrete coring to determine the strength of the concrete based on actual. So the result came out that the actual strength of the concrete is only 19 MPa. Then as for the reinforcement bar, dun sa plano, ang ina-specify is that it should be 414 megapascal. However, sa test result, it is only 275 MPa. And also to their concrete hollow blocks, it was clearly specified in the blueprint that it should be 18 megapascal. However, sa actual, they only use 16 megapascal. We also observed that the contractor did not follow the safety standard procedures in construction as required by the Department of Labor and Employment. So, what we have observed is that most of their workers don't wear the prescribed personal protective equipment or the PPE. So, the workers does not wear safety shoes, hard hats, and reflectorized vests. Also, we also observe that there are workers who are working on the laying of concrete hollow blocks, which is about above 6 meters from the ground, and yet they don't have this lifeline or safety belt or harness, because it was clearly provided in the DOLE that workers working 6 meters above the ground, they should have this lifeline of safety or safety belt or harness. And also lack of construction signages. Then also we conducted a thorough review on the project's per CPM. So we concluded that versus the actual progress, the actual accomplishment of the project is only 36.04% versus to as planned of 51.20%. So therefore, the project has a negative slippage of negative 15.16%.
So, Ms. Edabel, Engineer Edabel Palcasantos, based on your construction progress report, you have found out that there is a 15.16 negative slippage. So, can you tell us what this implies, or what can you recommend based from your findings?
Okay, in a standard engineering practice, negative 15.16% slippage is a ground for contract termination. So, what I can recommend to the BCD construction is maybe they can demand the contractor to come up with a mitigation plan, such as maybe 3 shift work in a day, and to demand the contractor to fast track their work.
So, Mr. Counsel, based on the recommendations of Engineer Palca Santos, would you be willing to consider these recommendations?
Your Honor, I would like to consult first my client as to the recommendation. And we would like to see the specifics of such recommendation. We cannot decide at this very moment. That is our stand.
Mr. Counsel, do you have any other witnesses?
No more witnesses, Your Honor, for the complainant.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Counsel. And Engineer Falca Santos, thank you also for your statement. Now, we are done with the statement of the witnesses of the complainant. Let's proceed to the other party.
Your Honor, I would like to present our first witness, the representative of the BCD Construction Services, Ms. April B. Malakay, to give her testimony.
In Your Honor, I am April B. Malakay, the contractor and representative of BCD Construction Services. So I am here today to give my testimony against the complaint of EAJ Mall. So contrary to the allegations made by the owner of ELJ Mall, Mr. Efren Haina, so BCD Construction Services has diligently and conscientiously undertaken the construction project in accordance with the terms stipulated in the executed contract of specific project dated December 20, 2021. So, while we acknowledge the concerns raised by ELJ Mall into the constructions, we dispute the assertions or the complaints regarding the deficiencies in the constructions. First, on the non-compliance with material specifications. The project specifications, design, budget, and the proposed timelines were all approved and accepted by Mr. Haina. So during the signing of the contract for the specific project, then prior to the inspection reports and prior of contracting the third party, there was already a request on division on some materials, and for the extension of time, I think which we have already submitted for marking, it was all approved by Mr. Efren Haina. So his mere approval shows that the accepted divisions and the extensions were made on the said materials. So second, on the failure to adhere the safety standards, BCD Construction Services maintains that the construction projects has been carried out with due regard for material specifications, safety standards, and project timelines. Again, when we started the project, ELJ Mall have approved all of these specifications, including the safety standards and project timelines presented by BCD Construction Services. So we have implemented rigorous quality control measures, and we have adhered to industry best practices. That's why if you can see on the significant delay in project completion, we have the S-curve graphs and the Gantt charts and also the project timeline, which shows the project is within the timeline. However, there are delays. So, but this delays has been approved by ELJ Mall with the approval of the extension of time in the division on the project timeline. So, Your Honor, with the testimony that I have presented earlier, we contest the findings of the assessment conducted by Engineer Falca Santos and his company We emphasize that BCD Construction Services has consistently strived to meet and exceed that expectations outlined in the contractual agreement. That would be all, Your Honor.
Thank you for the testimony, Ms. Malakay. I have no further questions but to the council. It appears that you have not submitted any document to support your adherence to safety standards and best practices. Will you admit the findings presented by Engineer Edabel Falcasantos?
Your Honor, to address that question, may I present our second witness, which is Engineer Rachel Alberto, the site engineer of BCD Construction and Services.
Good day, Your Honor. I am Rachel Alberto. I am the site engineer of BCD Construction Services. I have been working as their site engineer for 15 years now. So I would like to address the concerns brought here with you, Your Honor. No? First, with the materials. I would like to tell you that all the materials that we use in the project are within the specifications. In fact, we always secure materials testing certificates from DPWH and also from other accredited facilities by the DPWH. However, we also encounter some external factors, like for example, the delay in the delivery of the supplier. So when there's delay in the supplies or our construction materials, of course, it would simultaneously result to delay in the construction. So to remedy this, we told our manager, the representative of the BCD Construction Services, that we need to propose or to notify our client through a notice of extension of time. So we propose an additional 60 days on top of the original 1,460 days that was agreed in the contract. Your Honor, this revised timeline was approved by Mr. Haina, our client. So also we also want to address the concern on the safety standards, Your Honor. We promise that any future engagement with our client, we will make sure to adhere with the construction, occupational safety, and health rules. Thank you, Your Honor.
Engineer Alberto, based on your statement, you commit to adhere to the construction, occupational safety, and health standards in the continuation of this project. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. I have no further questions for Engineer Alberto. Counsel, any more witnesses you wish to present?
Your Honor, we have no more witnesses to present.
Thank you, counsels. We now proceed with the summation, where the parties are required to make a brief oral summation as we end our oral hearing. We start with the counsel of the complainant.
As for the complainant, Your Honor, Mr. Efren Haine here has suffered an injury of more or less more than 500 million pesos because of the non-deliverance of BCD Corporation Construction Services due to the deviation that the project of Mr. Haina has suffered. Okay. As highlighted earlier in the affidavits and in the testimonies of the witnesses, the deviations are the following. First, the deviation or the deficiency in the material specification, which is very vital, or shall I say important, in the project, the said project. And not only that, there are also deviations when it comes to the safety standards, and which is also very crucial. And lastly, the delay in the project completion, as alleged and as proven by the witnesses with their testimonies and judicial affidavits, as well as the documentary evidence. It is proven, or we are sure, that BCD Corporation breached the contract of agreement entered into by them and Mr. Efren Haina. Secondly, the injury that Mr. Efren Haina has suffered because of such deviation is also clear, as attested by Engineer Edabel Falca Santos, with the support of photographic evidence, his witness statements, communication records, and so is the project timeline. So, as agreed in the contract that any dispute arising from this agreement shall be resolved first in this tribunal, we would like to seek the following remedies. So my client, as highlighted earlier, would want to be paid or compensated with the damages that he suffered because of the breach of such contract, involving the delay, the deficiencies or the discrepancies in material specification and safety standards. Secondly, my client is amenable as to the remedy of specific performance with amendments as to the contract. And my client is amenable to revise or amend the contract for as long as the damages that he has suffered must be compensated by BCD Construction Services. That would be all.
My client, BCD Construction Services, firmly believes that they had diligently undertaken the construction project in accordance with the terms stipulated in the executed contract for specific project dated December 20, 2021. We strongly dispute assertions regarding deficiencies in the project, including but not limited to, first, non-compliance with material specifications, second, failure to adhere to safety standards, and third, significant delay in project completion. It has to be noted that these deviations in some material specifications were approved by Mr. Haina itself, and his mere approval of it shows that he accepted the deviations. It has also to be noted that delay in the construction schedule is due to the delay in the delivery of construction material supplies from suppliers, as certified by the Department of Trade and Industry. Hence, a time extension has been requested, supported by the notice of the time extension, which was also approved by Mr. Haina. Thus, it is saddening that these allegations were done to the part of my client. However, the BCD Construction is open to have a settlement with the complainant and is willing to continue to undertake the project where penalties will be deducted to the remaining collectible amount. That would be all. Your Honor, we formally offer the judicial affidavit of the representative of BCD Construction Services, Ms. Aprili B. Malakay, and the judicial affidavit of Engineer Rachel Alberto, the site engineer of BCD Construction Services.
Honor, we would like to offer the judicial affidavit of the complainant, Mr. Efren Haina, as our evidence. Also, the judicial affidavit of our expert witness, Engineer Edabel Falca Santos.
Parties agree to not submit memoranda or draft decisions, it will be the members of the arbitral tribunal to issue the orders for the following reasons: A, to ensure the enforcement of the award; B, to prevent irreparable loss or injury or deterioration of property; C, to minimize or avoid undue delays in project or contract implementation; D, to provide security for the performance of any obligation; E, to produce or preserve any evidence; and F, such other measures deemed by the arbitral tribunal to be necessary. However, if the parties agree to not submit memoranda or draft decisions, if that's the case, please be reminded, parties, that the filing shall be simultaneous.
The award shall be rendered promptly by the tribunal within 30 days from the time the case is submitted for resolution, but not more than 6 months from the date of the signing of the terms of reference, or in the cases where the TOR is absent, not more than 6 months from the date of the last preliminary conference, called for the purpose of finalizing and/or signing of the TOR. There shall be no extension of time unless approved by the Ciac.
Once again, please await for the arbitration award from this tribunal within 30 days. Thank you, counsels, for your service today. The arbitration proceeding is adjourned.